Welcome to Module 2, Part 1, Setting Up Word Problems, brought to you by Team Glaze. Today we are going to learn about setting up word problems. I'm actually going to cross out the word linear. We're just setting up word problems. I'm going to give you some hard ones. We're going to draw pictures. We're going to identify what you're solving for, and you're going to identify what information and tools you have to work with. Module 2, Part 2, will go through actually solving those problems, but let's just set them up. That seems to be the hardest thing. Problem-solving strategies. What are we finding? You write down on your paper every word problem. Find X, find Y, and you're going to label exactly what those mean. And we're going to go through those examples. Can I draw a picture? What information do I know? And what tools do I have to work with? Here's our first example. Beth is making a box without a lid. She starts with a 20-inch square piece of cardboard and cuts out 4 equal squares from each corner of the cardboard. She then folds the sides of the box and glues the edges together. How big does she need to cut the corner squares in order to make the box with the biggest volume? Number 1, what are we finding? Name your variables. So we're going to write the word find. Find what? How big does she need to cut the corner squares? So I'm going to say find X, and I'm going to label specifically. X is the corner dimension. So write that down, corner dimension. Okay, we know exactly what we're looking for. Step number 2, can I draw a picture? Absolutely. Here's a picture, nice and neat for you. Label it. I don't see what I'm finding on there. I am finding these dimensions over here, these little corner cut pieces. Each of these corners is the same. I don't have to label them all, but I just wanted you to see that that's exactly what we're finding. We're finding that corner piece dimension. Okay, so it's been labeled. And my next piece is, what information do I know? Well, I know that the square cardboard is 20 inches by 20 inches. I also know that I'm cutting out a corner X by X. And I also know the length of the sides of the box. So if we look down here at this picture, the 3D picture, I know that length right there. That corresponds to one of these lengths. So that's going to be my whole 20 inches, but I have to take off this piece and this piece. So I have to take off 2 of those X's. So I know that the length is 20 minus 2X, and that's going to work for the length and the width because they are the same. It's a square box. Okay, number 4, what tools do I have? Do I have tables, graphs, equations? The question is to make the biggest volume. I know volume. Volume is easy, right? Volume is length times the width times the height. We already found out what the length and width are. Let's look at our 3D picture one more time. We have our length, which is the same as our width. And then we have our height, and our height happens to be X right there. That's the corner piece that's cut out right there. So I have 20 minus 2X times 20 minus 2X times X. That's my volume. You don't have all the tools to actually solve this problem, but you set up a really hard problem with 4 easy steps. Okay, let's do another problem. The candle has a starting length of 10 inches. 30 minutes after lighting it, the length is 7 inches. Determine the rate of change in length of the candle as it burns. Does it seem complicated? Do you even know where to start? Yes, you know where to start. Number 1, what are we finding? We are finding the rate of change of candle length over time. Right here, the rate of change in length of the candle as it burns. Okay, that's what we're finding. That tells us a lot. Can I draw a picture? If so, label it. Well, sure. Let's draw our candle. Okay, we have a candle. My candle's not exactly square, but you get the idea. I know that it starts out at 10 inches. So it's 10 inches tall. And I also know that after 30 minutes, it becomes 7 inches. Okay, I've drawn my picture. I've labeled it. And step number 3, what information do I know? Write it down. I know that at time 0 minutes, the candle is 10 inches tall. I also know that after 30 minutes, so at time 30 minutes, the candle is now 7 inches tall. So I know a lot. Now, what tools do I have? Do I have equations, graphs, tables? What would be helpful in this case? Well, if you notice, I was given 2 points. At time 0, I had 10 inches tall. At time 30 minutes, I had 7 inches tall. So a graph makes a lot of sense in this case. And I can graph those 2 points and look at the slope of that line, because slope means rate. Remember, Dr. Glaze talked about that in a previous module. All right, so in this case, our slope is a change in the candle length, the candle height, over the change in time, the time that that candle has been burning. So using our information, we just plug in what we know. We know that the candle started at 10 inches and went to 7 inches at time 0 to time 30 minutes. Once again, we're not going to solve it. That's going to be module 2. You just need to have a really clear understanding of how to set up these word problems. Okay, the 4 steps to solve word problems. Number 1, what are we finding? Write it down. I'm going to write it down one more time. The word find. Write that down. Number 2, can I draw a picture? If so, make sure you label it. What information do I know? Write it down on your picture, on the side. What tools do I have? Can I write down equations like the volume? Can I make a graph, or does a table make sense like in the candle problem? What would be helpful? Write it down. And this asterisk is very important. Don't use the internet to do the work for you. You can look up these problems and probably find a solution. But is that going to help you understand how to solve word problems? Not so much.